Welcome to your next session of your Business Admin with Plato training. Today's session is Customer Service in Business Admin Part 2. The aims and objectives of today's session are to outline key practices and procedures in an office, to identify sources of information on products and services and explain why staff need to understand the service they're providing to the customers, and to state what is meant by the term service offer. We're going to start by having a look at what a service offer is, or what a mission statement is. So if you attended the live session this morning, you should be familiar with the terms service offer and mission statement. If you didn't manage to attend the live session this morning, I've just put together examples of some mission statements across Greater Manchester on the next few slides, because that's what. So this link here will take you to Manchester University NHS Foundation, and it will take you to their values page. If you pause this video here, you can type this link into your browser. The next mission statement here says Office Depot, so that's company name, their mission, their values and their vision. So you can see here they've split them up into three sections: their mission statement, their vision statement and their values. Please pause this video and have a read of this page. Next we have Manchester Airport. So Manchester Airport Group, or MAGS, and values. So their vision is to be a premier airport management and services company. And then underneath they've got their mission. So please pause this video and have a read of this one, please. So with regards to mission statements, all companies have mission statements, and these underpin the values that the companies are making towards their customers. In customer service, the generic term mission statement is service offer. So the purpose of the mission statement is to outline the promises that that business has committed to. And hopefully by those examples that you've just had a look at, this will make more sense now. If you are still wondering about mission statements, please pause this video and go back to the previous slides. So this leads you on to question 1. State what is meant by the term service offer or mission statement. Please remember to use full sentences and develop a statement of at least 2 sentences. Please pause this video whilst you complete the question. There are lots of places where you can find out about a business. So far we've looked at mission statements. The mission statements are found on companies' individual websites, but where else could you find out information on a company? Where might you look if you were trying to find out where a place is, what they sell, if they have the product, or if they provide the service is well rated? Where could you find out this information? So there are lots of places where you could find out information about the company. So you could look at the company website, you could ask the staff members at the company, you could ask a previous customer, you would find information on their marketing material such as flyers, leaflets, brochures and billboards. Sometimes you can visit the company. This will lead you on to question 2. So identify 4 sources of information on a company's products or services. When you are identifying, please make sure it's not just a list that you've written. Please make sure you've put in that supporting sentence in there. So you could say 4 different sources of information of a company's products and services are, and then tell me what they are. Please pause this video whilst you complete the question. We've looked at where information can be found on a company. So let's look at, why does staff at a company need to know about the organisation's mission statement? Why do staff need to know about the policies and procedures? Why do staff need to know their company details? Why do they need to know the day-to-day running of the business? And why do they need to know who to report to? So the mission statement, this is the values and vision that the organisation has. So know your mission statement because it is the ethos of the business. We can't make our own rules up at work as we previously visited before, so that's why the policies and procedures in place, that's why you need to know about those. The company details, so you can inform the customers of different locations, the address, telephone number. You need to be able to tell the customers what the day-to-day running of the business is, should they have a question, and who to report. We need to know that because we can ask the person above us for help, as we looked at in week 1, on a query or a question or something we're just unsure of. Staff need to know about lots of information at the organisation, more than just this. These are just some key examples I added to pull up here. So if you'd like to come up with your own that staff need to know about and give a reason why they need to know about those items, you may. What is the impact staff do know about all of these items? So if they do know about all of the information that we've just looked at. So this will mean that you can answer the questions and queries of customers, which will give a positive impression of the business. Those customers should return because they had a great experience of your customer service. You're probably going to sell lots of products or services which will make the company money, and the business will thrive. So your job, you're going to keep getting paid each month. Your job is safer as a result of you knowing how the business runs and how the organisation is running, and you've got that knowledge there that you can share with customers so you can make money and make your job safe. Whereas if we're not equipped with the knowledge of all of those items, it might be that you're unable to answer some of the questions or queries that customers have, which could give a negative impression. You may not have customers return if they've had a poor experience. You might not sell any products or services because of that, which may make you lose money as a business, and the business could have to close down, which would result in losses. So it really is important to understand the importance of knowing your role and knowing all of those points that we looked at previously. So that will lead us on to question 3. So explain why staff in an office need to know and understand about the service they are providing to customers. So when you're explaining a question, you need to write in full sentences, and we're looking for a paragraph of around 3 to 4 sentences. You need to give reasons in your answer, so you could use conjunctions or joining words such as so, but, however, and therefore to strengthen your answer. Please pause this video whilst you complete that question. We're now going to have a look at some key policies and procedures in the workplace. So we're going to have a look at a social media policy, effective communication policy, the first aid procedure and having an accident, and a confidentiality policy. We're going to have a look at some information regarding all of these policies. So a social media policy. So how might a social media policy help employees to give a good level of customer service? And if you're not sure, social media, things like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, WhatsApp even. How does having a social media policy help employees give a good level of customer service? So social media policies are in place in most workplaces because social media is very common nowadays. It's a very commonly used method to advertise products and services. Most companies have a social media page, are able to speak to customers and things. So if you're working in business administration, it could be your duty to update or respond on social media. So during your live session, you will have done some research on this as a group, and if you didn't attend that live session, please have a think and do some research on how a social media policy will help you when dealing with customers. And of course, in this scenario, customers will be online on some form of social media. So you could think of it as Facebook or Instagram. And that will lead you on to the first part of question 4. So to outline key practices and procedures used in an office to ensure good customer service. So to outline, you need to ensure you're writing in full sentences to develop a paragraph of approximately 2 sentences. So please make sure that your research that you've done is from the UK. I know I said this in my lab. Please make sure if you're doing your research now that it is from UK websites. Nothing to do with America or Spain or something. So for outline how a social media policy relates to good customer service in an office environment. Please pause this video whilst you complete that question. Effective communication. So how does an effective communication policy guide people when working in an office? So what do we mean by the phrase effective communication? So communication needs to be effective is one way of looking at it. So to break it down a little bit further, effective communication should be efficient, timely, meaningful. We don't want pointless. So effective communication is things like making sure there's less misunderstanding, workplace culture amongst the staff, a non-threatening environment amongst the staff. Conflict will be solved in team spirit. It'll help staff to feel self-confidence. They'll have clear direction from their leaders. There should be good satisfaction amongst the staff members, and the business overall should be. So I've taken this from a policy that communication in terms of staff and colleagues. During your live session, you will have done some research on this as a group. If you focused on effective communication towards customers, this is also absolutely fine because it's still very relevant. If you couldn't attend the live session today, please ensure that you complete research on how an effective communication policy will help when dealing with customers. And you can either focus on it from an effective policy focusing on staff or with customers. That leads you on to question 4b. So outline how an effective policy relates to good customer service in an office. Once again, please make sure you're writing in full sentences, approximately 2 to 3 in value, and it you got was from UK websites. Please pause this video whilst you complete the question. The first aiders. So how does having a first aid procedure in place help employees to give customers and colleagues a good level of customer service? With this question, I would like you to think about whether you could give first aid. Can you give first aid personally? And I did 2 years of nurse training and I can't give first aid. Who are qualified in adult emergency first aid can give first aid to adults whether they are a colleague or a customer. That is the answer. So I am not a qualified first aider. Although I have done first aid in the past, I cannot do it now. I've been in life-saving and changing situations with CPR. However, I am not currently to assist with first aid. So during your live session, you'll have done some research on this as a group, but if you couldn't attend the live session, once again, please research how a first aid procedure will help when dealing with customers. So think about it in terms of good customer service. With an accident book, so how might an accident book help employees to give a good level of customer service? So in terms of this, I'd like you to think about health and safety. So it's our duty of care to make sure that we record all accidents under health and safety law. Serious accidents need reporting to RIDDOR. We're going to have a look at RIDDOR tomorrow. A risk assessment carried out because there was an accident, and the risk assessment is put in place to prevent the same accident from happening. Session, you should have done some research on an accident book, and once again, if you were unable to attend the live session, please ensure that you research how an accident book can have an impact on customer service. So for question 4C, I'd like you to outline how a first aid procedure and having an accident book relates to good customer service office environment. Once again, please make sure research is from UK pages and relates to UK policies. And please make sure you are outlining using 2 to 3 sentences. Confidentiality. So how does a confidentiality policy help to give a better level of customer service? Laws are in place to protect data from being misused. What could happen if you don't follow the rules of the confidentiality? So we're going to have a little look here at the Data Protection Act of 1998 and GDPR of 2018. So what might happen if we don't follow the rules? So GDPR is a law, and it says that if we don't handle data correctly, then we're going to get fined. So it's the business that gets fined, but obviously the penalty will come back to yourself if you're found to have leaked or accidentally misused data. So we have some guidance here from the official website. So there are 2 tiers of administrative fine that can be levied as penalties for GDPR non-compliance. So the fines are up to 10 million euros or 2% of turnover, whichever is greater, or up to 20 million euros or 4% of annual turnover, which is greater. So fines are discretionary rather than mandatory. They must be imposed on a case-to-case basis and should be effective, proportionate, and dissuasive. So let's have a further look at some of those fines. So how are they determined? So fines of up to 10 million euros or 2% of annual turnover can be issued for infringement of articles as follows. Yeah, it doesn't take much of a breach. Only 8 conditions of children's consent. Just 8. How many children are in classrooms each day? So 28, 32. 11, processing that does not require identification. 25 to 29, general obligation processors and controllers. 40 and 43, certification bodies. So you can see there, although we might not be familiar with what some of those terms mean at this level, however, you can see the numbers are all below 50. If we go to the fines of up to 20 million or 4% of annual turnover, you can see once again the numbers start from just 5 all the way through to 50, again at 49. Data protection. So how does a confidentiality policy help to give us customer service? What types of data are protected from law within the confidentiality policy? So during your live session research on this, once again with your groups, again if you couldn't attend that live session, please research the 2 questions above, how the confidentiality policy is relevant when helping customers. This will lead you on to your final question, which is outline how a confidentiality policy relates to good customer service in an office environment, and please ensure that you are writing in full sentences. So if you can ensure that you fill in learning activity log for today with today's date under the date. Your learning aim is customer service again, activities and what you learned. So today you've policies and procedures in the workplace, and then if you can tell me what you've learned today as well. The next session we're looking at laws and regulations in business administration, and then the next session date you can put tomorrow's date. So that's all our aims and objectives that we set out at the start of this. You should now be able to outline practices and procedures in the workplace. You should be able to identify information on products and services, explain why staff need to understand about the service they're providing to those customers, and you should now understand the term service offer. Thanks.